This is Continuum Drag, a podcast where we watch sci-fi, fantasy, and everything in between. This week, Parallels.
Is this the future?
No, it's not the future. I told you guys the building doesn't time travel. It's still the exact same day, exact same time. You don't even have to adjust your watch. It's just a different Earth is all.
Oh yeah, no big deal. Just a thing different Earth.
So we're stuck here.
You know, this Earth's not so bad. I mean, the tech is decent.
Decent? It's like 20 years more advanced than we are.
All right, well, we should look for Dad.
How?
I don't know, B. I'm just kind of making this up as I go.
Welcome to Continuum Drag, the podcast asking the question, what if a building could slide? I'm Luke, here with my co-host Jordan. What's real, Jordan?
I could really go for a Crombie right now. Anyone else?
What was a Crombie, Jordan?
I think it was like, it looked kind of like a crab sandwich, didn't it?
Is
Yep.
that what it looked like? Okay.
Yeah, with the claws.
Yeah, it looked with the little claws. I was like, oh, was it blue or am I making that up?
I don't remember really. I couldn't figure it out. I just moved on.
They're like, it's a Crombie. You're like, that sounds funny
a-
in science fiction. Like,
Some sort of sandwich.
yeah. It was a soft shell.
Anyway, this week we are joined by a guest. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you. Excited to talk about Parallels.
Excellent, excellent. Well, as a first-time guest on the show, we usually like to kind of ask you what your history is with kind of sci-fi TV or kind of the grist of our podcast mill.
I do love sci-fi. I would say I'm more of like a fantasy horror person. So I guess all the sci-fi that I do like tends to kind of veer more into that genre.
All right.
So a little more like, with TV shows, X-Files, which is, I would say more horror. And even sci-fi movies, Cronenberg, Aliens, which debatable whether they're horror, sci-fi, or a mix of both.
You like your sci-fi to lean a little bit into the horror realm, which is understandable. That's a very big part of science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, X-Files, that is a real telltale sign of your generation.
Yes, my Friday nights as a kid were Sliders and X-Files, sometimes Outer Limits if I didn't fall asleep. So, and
Wasn't that the best?
yeah, and obviously like Sliders, we will be talking about because
Very much.
And I think I've said this before on the podcast, but there years and years ago, this was probably like 1995 or something. And every Friday night, this is a little window into my life, but we had to do piano lessons. And then after piano lessons, we'd come home and we'd just kind of make it in time for the X-Files. And I remember saying to my brother, I was like, I loved that Friday night. And when they moved it to Sundays, I was like, I can't believe they moved it to Sundays. This sucks. And my brother was like, people go out on Friday nights. And I was like, oh. They don't just do piano lessons and then race home to watch the X-Files.
So then you would miss Sliders if you were to get there just in time.
I would a lot of times miss it, but then of course
You got all the
recording.
Sliders you could handle 40 years later.
Yeah, exactly. We watched a bunch of Sliders, but you could also record. Like putting stuff on VHS was the best because you couldn't trust my dad because he'd miss half of it. You had to auto record.
We've talked about this before, Jordan, but you have to find those videotapes your dad recorded.
Yeah, my dad used to record, Chris. This is such a tangent. My dad used to just record like weird things he would see, and so it would just be like
montage of like
yeah.
It's 2 seconds of Sally Jessica Raphael because a weird person came on.
yeah, because my dad likes like freaks. Like he'd be like, oh, this guy's got like a goiter on his neck. Record, and then it'd be like something else. It'd be like these birds are conjoined. I'm like, what? And so you just have this weird like freak show of VHS tapes. I will have to find them at some point.
Weirdly, that is now your taste as well.
Unfortunately, I think we all sort of slowly become our parents.
yeah.
It's a trend I'm taking from my father.
Yeah, daytime TV raised me, so I understand Sally Jesse and all that.
All right. Well, this week we're watching the TV movie from 2015, Parallels. We're calling it a TV movie. I think that's somewhat fair. It was produced by, this is very funny. I'm sure you saw this at the start, Zero Day Fox.
Yeah, I forgot to Google it.
I thought it was a joke at first.
I thought so too, or I thought it was maybe someone's like personal brand. They were like, I bootleg this, and this is the name of my bootlegging. But it was in fact a very brief outlet of Fox that did digital video. So essentially, and this is so weird, this is from a real snapshot of time before we lived in the media hellscape we do currently, where they made this as a test pilot for Netflix. So this was
Yeah.
a test pilot that ran on Netflix to see if they would go to series, if Fox would make a full series for Netflix of this show. So before, I guess, Netflix was doing originals on their own, they were sourcing things from the studios. I was trying to like place it in my head because it was such a small window of time, I guess, for Netflix when this was happening.
Well, it is weird because that seems like such an archaic thing at this point to have, like, throw a pilot up or a TV movie. Like, we've seen so many older things where they do that, but now it's just like it's a series. You just see the series, like, it seems weird. Like, Netflix did that. Like, I have no memory of them ever doing it, but obviously they did because there's parallels.
Yeah, I guess there was probably 2015. They were just like going to students, be like, "Bring us ideas. We'll put a pilot on. If the reviews are good, we'll go to series with you on this." And now they just straight to series, 5 seasons.
I like the idea that whoever was taking the pitch is like, I'll take any idea. If it takes place in this one building, all the ideas have to be about a building.
Well, I think what it was is because obviously it was a digital video division. They're probably trying to keep it pretty cheap because it feels like not small for a pilot, but like seems very economical. They tried to keep it very low key, not a lot of characters, not a lot of settings. They're just doing their best to make it pop where it can. And it did get picked up for series, though. They did decide they were going to run with it because I found an old Variety article about it, that they were going to run to series. They were going to change the name from Parallels to The Building.
Oh my God. How could you get worse than Parallels?
The building sounds like a sitcom, doesn't it? It sounds like a mid-90s sitcom.
Yeah.
And it was going to be co-show run by Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Before his troubles. Or I guess during his troubles, really.
Did Constance Wu tweet, like she famously tweeted after her show got Fresh Off the Boat got renewed, and she tweeted that she was very upset about it because she actually didn't want to keep on doing the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was around the time where she thought she was going to break out because of Hustlers, and then she had to apologize to the showrunners, to ABC or whatever network it was on.
Well,
that's Constance,
Hollywood.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess the very nearly became a full-fledged series. We'll get into it in a second, but maybe we'll chat about at the end, like, whether this would have worked going through a full series.
I'll say this, Luke, but saying of going to the full series, this is I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the third thing we've seen with this basic idea of alternate dimensions and kind of traveling, or at least having a device that travels people through, right? Because I could think of, obviously we mentioned originally, Sliders. There's this one, Otherworld, and Doorways.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Does Otherworld count, do you think?
I think so, because
Okay.
they use the pyramids to travel. That's what it was, wasn't it?
They only go to one alternate world, though.
Fair enough. I think it counts, though. But don't you think, it's the same basic concept. So
Yeah,
I think
for
someone
sure.
was like, hey, this nugget of idea is something. Like, I don't think it's a crazy idea. I mean, other problems with this aside, I think the actual idea of, like, traveling to a funner world. I mean, the Sliders was on for, 50 years?
Yeah, no, it's a classic science fiction trope to, like, go to various worlds and, like, see the differences in it. Now I think we'd call them metaverses, but...
Yeah. You can get Crombies.
All right. Shall we get into it then?
Yeah.
Here's the IMDb summary for Parallels. A mysterious building is the gateway to infinite parallel Earths.
Can I say one thing just off the bat? Every time you do see these sorts of things, let's say you're doing a pilot, and your pilot is this show, and it's you use a building. Don't you think you would have picked some wild things to go into? Like, just wild. Even if it doesn't have to be like you're saying, Luke, you mentioned at the beginning, like, obviously we know there's budgetary restraints, and you can't have, like, everyone have dinosaur heads or something like that. But anytime, like, someone goes to, like, a post-apocalyptic world, I'm always bummed out. I'm like, oh, great, you've picked the most bleak of all the options. It could have been, like, anything, but you're like, hey, well, we need no people around. What if there's just, like, a rusty car? I'm like, I don't know. Can't, like, the flowers be different colors or something? Give me something.
What?
I don't know.
The pilot is they just go to a world.
Yeah.
The flowers here are different colors.
It's not just flowers. They walk off and they go, wait a minute, is that roast blue? And then you don't even know what's gonna happen because the training wheels are off at that point, you know.
All right. Well, I can see why they brought Neil Gaiman, not you, into show.
They kept on trying to make the building look really ominous and like with the music and everything, and it was just like
Yeah.
trying to make it the character, and it just wasn't working.
It wasn't a very evocative building. It's kind of just a
No.
brutalist skyscraper with no real character to it. I will say, because there's an opening credit sequence at the start where they kind of show the building from various angles, and like the backgrounds are always like slightly different. I didn't hate it as far as an opening to this goes. I was kind of like, all right, cool. The building's going to be in all kinds of weird places. But, also wasn't the most evocative. It is, I think maybe one of the key questions of this is just like, how interesting is a building to hang out in all the time for your series?
Yeah.
Part of it, though, I think there was a choice to make it nondescript. It's like this building you don't notice. It's just there. I think story-wise it makes sense, but I think you're right. In terms of watching it as a viewer, you look at this thing, you're like, this is the most boring-looking building ever. Like, make something from the 1920s or something, like that has some interesting bones to it as opposed to just like a rectangle. Like, wow, there it is again.
Yeah, and it will add some, like, it'll make your budget look higher if you're using a building that isn't like, because, throughout, like you said, it was definitely made, on a smaller budget, and there's your chance. You don't have to spend money on it. Just like get something fancier.
Yeah, especially since, as you said, it's going to be a character on the show. Unfortunately, it kind of does. The character of the building does kind of mirror the characters in the show. And that didn't really want to spend a lot of time with them, but we'll kind of get into it because it starts off with this tease of the mysteries yet to come. This is very much in a post-Lost era where it needs to be nonstop mysteries that we're never going to answer any questions about, hoping that will draw you back into the show. But it begins with the question, what if the Men in Black were just old rockers?
Yeah, the one guy does have very long, stringy hair.
Yeah.
Huh?
There's like these guys in black suits jump out and they're yelling for someone at a house, but like the one guy just has like the greasiest, longest hair. I'm like, I don't know about this.
What if he had it in a ponytail? Would you like it better?
Yeah, that would have really turned off the rocker vibes. But this is before we catch up with our hero for the show, Ronan Carver, which is got to be one of those top tier names of the shows like this, where you've got a guy who you're supposed to like because he's there.
I don't like Ronan Carver as a character. I don't know about the actor. He doesn't seem particularly strong in this, but I'm going to blame it on the material, not the actor. I think he's probably doing what he can. But as soon as they're like, he's like a UFC fighter, and I was like, ugh, cool, I guess. It's like, it's the least interesting way to be like, don't worry, he can handle himself in situations. I was like, it's so boring.
Yeah, he's some sort of back alley MMA fighter with a death wish. Later in the pilot, we'll learn that his backstory is his mom got killed when she was hit by a car while she tried to stop him from beating a man to death. I was like, what?
Yeah. She was on the side of the road and someone came and clipped her. That's what it was, right?
He's just like, I feel so guilty. I'm like, yeah, probably you should.
Well, you know what I thought? I was like, but you didn't hit her with a car.
I guess
you should
so.
feel guilty about your other thing you were doing. Beating the guy you should feel guilty about.
I
But
guess
like,
that's
I don't know if
true.
the mom's death is on you.
I mean, you should feel bad about your mom's death, but then you should
Yeah.
probably have learned a lesson about beating a man to death, not continue to try to beat men to death for the rest of your life. At any rate, we see him lose a fight, and then he gets a call from his father on a very bad connection. I guess they're estranged, and his dad's telling him to come home right away. But as he's telling him to come home at a very specific time, he also gives them a different address to go to. That's what happened, right? He gets a call, and he's just like, come home right now, Ronan. Come home. Meet me at like 6:49 at this building.
Yeah.
And for so much of the pilot, he just doesn't go to that address. And I'm just like, just go to the address your dad told you to.
It is a weird like little hiccup because they do. Because they have to like kind of bend over backwards to be like, why is he going home? Because he needs to go home to meet his sister, to get the bag and blah, 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 to set the course of events, rolling. But it is weird because the dad's like, hey, make sure you come home. Meet me at this address. You're like,
Oh, wait.
would you go right away? Like, no, I'll go in a little bit.
So I didn't really catch that. The address that he gave was not. So they went back to the childhood home, and
Yes.
the address was like a different place that just kind of went
the
nowhere.
building.
It was the building. Okay.
Yeah, he gives the address.
Yeah, but he
to the
didn't go to the
building.
building.
Oh, okay,
He's
okay.
like, hey, He's like, hey, here's a cryptic message. Come meet me at 1625 Bay Street. And he's like, got it. Anyways, I'm gonna go home and talk to my sister for a couple days and do some stuff. I'll meet you over that
Well, the thing
address
is,
later.
too, the sister got the same call with the same address, but she also goes to the house.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Where's Dad?" I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe go to the address he gave you."
I know, it's weird.
They have to meet the other guy.
Yeah, I guess they got to meet the other
They have to
guy.
meet the lawyer.
That's kind of what happens now. He goes home, which is in some unnamed American city, which I also found bizarre for them not to name the city they're in, given that the city is going to be the same city they have to spend every episode in. Like, why keep it a mystery as to what city they're in?
Was it not Akron, Ohio? Or was
He
that
was in at the beginning of the episode, and then he takes a bus.
Oh,
We see him
of
taking
course,
a
yeah,
Greyhound
yeah.
bus.
Greyhound? Yeah.
And so I don't know why on earth they're hiding what city this is supposed to be, considering that they can never leave the city at any point in the series since the building lives there. I found it like bizarre to also hide that information from us.
It's probably a Bangor, Maine, where Stephen King's place stuff takes place. It's that town.
But yes, he goes back to his childhood home. He meets his sister Bee and their wacky neighbor Harry, who is a public defender who's also has a wacky mentally ill mother. I was like, what is happening? What is these characters?
Isn't it Harold? Didn't he say like, I didn't know that was a thing, but when you graduate law school, you can change your name. Just when he was like, I went to law school. I'm Harold now. Like, okay.
I'm Harold now. Yes, I guess that's true. He does say, like, please call me Harold. I went to law school. They can't find the dad at the house because he's not there. He gave him a different address, but they do find his old, quote, jump bag, which is like, they don't comment on. They're like, why does he have a jump bag? Isn't he like he's like a scientist or something, they say? I was like, but they're like, don't worry about it. It'll all make sense with another mystery later. In the jump bag, they find essentially what looks like a lawn bowling ball with a button on it that when he pushes, it lights up. And they're like, whoa, it's future technology or something. And they're like, what does it do? And we don't know.
To the show's defense, I think they wanted to show something that looks normal but also looks like it's old, and it doesn't, like, it's not evocative of anything, right? It's just like, it's this artifact, but like, is it, or is it just like a thing? Now, you know, is it the most interesting thing to look at? No, I agree, it's just like a little ball. But I think they were trying, I don't know, I give them credit for trying, I think, to have something that it's not like a glowing orb, it's not like, you know, light showing off, you know, like it's like ambiguous what this thing is.
Well, they push it and lights come out of it for a second, but it doesn't do it. Like, it's not like they find a mystery and it does something odd. It like does
That's
nothing.
true. That's true. It's because it's part of what I think you're mentioning. This is like a post-Lost thing, right? It's like, here's a thing. Like, is it gonna have a meaning? Maybe
Tune
season
in
3 you're gonna find
7
out.
weeks and you'll find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, the lawn bowling ball is also wrapped up in a newspaper, and the newspaper has a big headline about the day Bill Clinton was assassinated. And they're like, wait, did that happen? For some reason, they have to ask each other if that happened.
I like that. That was good.
But, you know, that is our first clue. Or they're finally going to get to parallel dimensions. And they're like, well, if Dad's not here, what are we going to do? And I'm like, finally, we got the team together. Brother, sister, wacky neighbor. Let's go to that address your dad gave you. No. Let's go to the police station first and have a conversation with a guy who says, I can't help you. And then they're like, okay, now let's go to that address. I was like, why what is happening?
But again, the only reason they did that was so that they could, when you meet him later in the alternate universe, you're like, hey, it's that guy again. That's
Nope, didn't work. I did not know. I did not recognize that man. I did not know who that man was.
You didn't recognize it when he's the big bad leader at the factory.
I know. We meet him in another parallel universe, and that's why we have an extra scene where they go talk to a random guy. But I'll tell you, I didn't until they said, like, hey, aren't you that cop from earlier? I was like, I didn't recognize him. I didn't know who he was. I had no idea.
Yeah, same. Until he called him Captain whatever. I was like, how'd you know?
Right.
I had no idea.
I was like, who? What? I'm like, is that supposed to be that guy we spent 4 seconds with back at the police? Yeah, I was very infuriated at the start of this. But yes, they meet this cop so that later they can meet him in a parallel universe. And then finally, after so much lollygagging, they make it to the building, which, you know, this is kind of where some of the fun of the premise comes in. As they go into the lobby, it's an abandoned building, apparently. It's covered in graffiti, like graffiti that says, on my Earth, 9/11 was on 10/23.
That's funny, though, is that because, you know, if you have something to record and you're like, I have to have people know about this, or I need to remember it, or it needs to be known for posterity, what you'd do is you'd grab a can of spray paint, and you spray paint it on the wall, and you're like, done. No one will remember. I'm like, there's no indication that stuff disappears in anything in this world. If anything, everything can travel from universe to universe. I'm like, just take a journal and leave it for someone. Leave a guest book.
It's
you know?
also very weird to be like, okay, let's just assume you traveled to this world, you got off, and you're like, wait a minute, there was also a terrorist attack here, and you go back and be like, on my world, 9/11 was on 10/20. You'd be like, on this world, 10/23 was on 9/11. That's like it's like phrase the opposite of how you would ever phrase that.
Yeah, I just I like the idea that that's all the messages are. It's just everyone keeps saying when their September 11th happened.
What I mean, one of the spray paints is, hey, there's a whole Earth where babies are twins. I'm like, that's spray paint on a wall.
It's the problem of like get the idea right, because you have to have they're worrying about the economy of the time
they're like,
they have.
wait till you see this crazy universe with twins.
But it's so funny because there's just so many more elegant ways you can do it and you can have the characters discover it because it's TV. We can learn this along the way. Like, we already know there's alternate universes. You don't need to have all this graffiti because, like, theoretically you're gonna see some of these things, right? It could just be like, I don't know, anything. It's just they hit you with a sledgehammer, so you're like, you want to see this, don't you? Don't you want to see that a September 11th attack a month earlier?
It's also like it takes out the logic because obviously with time travel and all this kind of stuff, you're going to be able to like dissect it and be like, wait, this doesn't make sense. So it's like they should avoid stuff that makes it even more illogical. But I felt like they were kind of referencing 12 Monkeys because I think there was like some spray painting stuff. And, it's been years since I saw that movie, but I remember spray painting and like all that to like give clues to people time traveling. But then it made it illogical again. So it was like, yeah. Didn't quite work.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely trying to give it an urban gritty vibe, I think, is the idea they're going for. But they're so fascinated with setting up like mysteries for this Lost style show. So like a lot of the graffiti just says stuff like, on Earth 7, it's bad. On Earth 23, there's a disease. Just so that later they can be like, what is Earth Prime? What is Earth number 1? But it does raise the question. It's like, but this building seems to jump around randomly. Nobody knows, like, who's numbering these? How are you ever supposed to know which? Like, it doesn't make sense for them to have numbered these universes.
Well, here's a question for both of you. So we see this, and we're going to learn, obviously, that this building is a time-traveling building, or not time-traveling, excuse me, universe-traveling building to different dimensions or different versions of the world, or however you want to articulate it. But our core characters, there's going to be 4 of them, there's 3 right now, sort of travel back and forth. We learn a few of the rules and blah, blah, blah. But never do we really see other people traveling. But it's sort of implied that other people have at least at some point used this, and multiple people. I wasn't sure what I was supposed to think. Are we supposed to think that these people went here and then went on an adventure and died, or they went and then found a world they like better, or we're just not seeing them? They're on different shifts, like one's on a night shift. Like, did you guys think that, or am I focusing on too many of the dumb things here?
No, it raises that question. Having all their graffiti implies a lot of people have used this building, and there's only one building, so they would have to overlap. So the only thing you can take out of that is just like, in the interim, everybody has either gotten off on a better world or died.
I thought it was a way to build up more characters too. They got to constantly add. And
yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we'll get into the rules and how that makes it more complicated in a bit, but they get in the building, they read this graffiti, the lights start flashing on the fire alarm, the doors lock, and then suddenly they've jumped to a post-apocalyptic Earth. They open the door and we see classic post-apocalyptic Earth. Jordan, I know this is not your favorite thing, and partly
it's not.
When we watched that pilot for Doorways, the George R.R. Martin riff on this kind of parallel universe thing, they also immediately jump to a post-apocalyptic world. So it does seem to be the go-to to like get the biggest differentiation between a new world.
I do love, though, that the characters don't know that we're watching a visual medium, and they walk out and they go, the buildings are gone. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. There's nothing else you can see. Like, I could see that. They're like, hey, there's a car over there. It's rusty. Like, thanks, guys. Like, you have no other dialogue.
There's so much chit chat when they step out. They try to piece together what's happened for so long. I was like, listen, I appreciate that it would be very jarring to step out, but like, it wouldn't be this hard to be like, something has changed drastically.
Yeah. You're right, and I will argue that throughout this, because we were discussing this while we were watching it, I don't feel like these people act in normal ways forever through this whole thing. Like, just say the three of us suddenly walk out of a building and there's a different world. I don't think the first thing you're going to do is be like, we know the rules and stuff, like, so anything can be different. Up is down, black is white, whatever you can conceive could be different. And you're like, so you're always going to be on uneven ground at all points. So you think you'd be kind of cagey and cautious and sort of kind of keep to the shadows until you kind of can figure things out. But I like one of the worlds they come, they're like, I'm going to go get myself something to eat. Even though I don't know what the money is, nor do I care, and
well,
I will be very vocal about it.
But it's just it's just their first job.
I know, but it's just like stuff like that across the whole thing. I'm like, guys, this doesn't make any sense. It was as soon as they got out here, I'm just like, you guys aren't acting like people would act in this sort of situation.
They do see that guy who looks like the professor from Sliders, though. I was like, are they doing a crossover?
Wouldn't that be great? They just like where they fade out the other.
But then he dies. He gets shot right away. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it. They see two people walking by, and we are seeing a post-apocalyptic world on screen. The man is like quite chubby and wearing a suit. I'm just like, is he living in this post-apocalyptic world? Why does he have such a nice suit on? I don't really understand.
He's a time traveler. He came from the world where September 11th happened in August.
But yeah, he pulls out a gun. He's like, leave me alone. Don't ask me questions. And as he walks away, a pickup truck pulls up full of people. They gun him down. So our building travelers run back inside to hide. And this is where we meet that fourth character you implied, Jordan, Polly, played by the now much more successful Constance Wu.
She added a little bit of gravitas to the ensemble. I like her.
I mean, she's good. She has a lot of charisma, and she basically pops out where they're hiding in the building, and the wacky neighbor finally, after all this time, proposes the concept. It's like maybe they've jumped to another dimension or something, and she pops out. And she's like, "Yeah, and let me tell you the rules." And she's like,
"Yeah,
I know one rule. The building jumps every 36 hours, and I have no further information. Everything else is a mystery." I was just like, we needed a little more than just the one rule, I think.
Close the blinds. You got to close the blinds after 7 p.m.
It also seems 36 hours. Like, why not 24? It just seems like a weird a day and a half.
It also implies too that like there aren't other people using the building because once it jumps after 36 hours, you're never getting back on board. Because she's like, if you miss it, you're stuck there.
Yeah. So the building disappears,
Yeah.
I guess.
That is another question. Is like the building appears to be there in every timeline, but you can't get on it and jump if it's there. It's very confusing. Anyway, they're hanging out. They're waiting for the building to jump in 36 hours. Since it's I did like this. They're like, "What should we do?" And she's like, "Don't go exploring. I don't recommend it. Just wait in the building." Unfortunately, that gun-toting pickup truck guys come back and catch them. They drag them off to an old power plant. This is where we see the police officer we saw like 30 minutes ago, who I didn't
and I was
remember.
like, "Hey, it's that police officer. I really clocked him."
Jordan's like, "That guy, I love him."
I love how he was so offended that what was his name, Ronan, when he finds out that they were lying and he's not a deaf mute. He was like, "What? You lied to me about being a deaf mute?"
He's like the people that I kidnapped and treated terribly are not being honest with me.
If someone told me someone was a deaf mute, I'd automatically just think that they're lying to try to overhear something incriminating I'm saying. I just wouldn't believe it. And yeah, he's not.
I do remember that the sister's basically like, the brother's about to get into it with him, and then it's just like, "Don't ignore him. He's a deaf mute." I literally was just like, "Oh, to me that sounds like you're just being sarcastic to shut your brother up." Like I was, but yeah, and then he's just like, "Wait, what? You're not who you say you are." And they know his name, so he gets upset, and he's like, "All right, take them off to torture them, I guess." And they meet a guy there because they're in this post-apocalypse. They're trying to restart a power plant. This group of people, they're at war with other factions. We don't really get a sense of what's happening in this world or why yet. But the guy we meet who's going to torture them is a guy named the Tinkerer. They call him the Tinkerer because he says he can build things and also he can do surgery from time to time.
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh, I guess he's gonna be able to make some fancy technology pretty soon that our characters can abuse."
Well, that's just it. We're in a post-apocalyptic world where they're trying to get the power back on. He's just like, "Check out this high-tech gun I made that you can put any bullet inside of and the barrel reshapes itself." And I was just like, are we in a post-apocalypse? Are we in the far future? Where are we right now?
And then Ronan turns into Xenia Onatopp from GoldenEye and just like crushes him with his legs. That was classic.
Well, if we're yeah, because basically like he handcuffs Ronan, and while he like sort of talks to what's her name, Z, and I like at one part like they're chatting, and then he's like he's like freaking out with his handcuffs, and his sister says to him, he's like, can you stop like acting like that? Don't you remember how mom died? And I started laughing because I assumed then at that point I was like, I guess his mom died via handcuffs. Because it was like she was implying like what he was doing right then had something to do with the murder, and I was like, oh, is this what he? It was the last time he had been tied up and he accidentally killed his mother when they were hostages. But no, we found out he was just murdering someone else while she was clipped by a car.
Yeah, essentially what's happening here is they're being tortured, the brother and sister, by Tinkerer, because he's suspicious of the building they came out of. He somehow has CCTV footage of their dad taking a suitcase nuke from the building. He's walking out of the building with a suitcase nuke, and then he used that suitcase nuke to nuke their world, and obviously killed some people he loved the Tinkerer loved in the process. But this was very confusing to me because then he goes on to explain, it's just like, well, you see, on my world, Pakistan collapsed in 1999, and the black market was flooded with suitcase nukes, so everybody had one. And then when this suitcase nuke went off, everyone started nuking each other in the world. I guess just like gangs, because gangs had them or something. Anyway, he wants to find the dad to get revenge, so that's why he's going to torture them.
Well, that's what part I didn't understand, because you see the footage and it's the dad bringing like a dirty bomb and blowing things up. But I was like, wait a minute. I'm assuming the dad just came out of the building because he's traveled, but did he travel with the weapon from another world? Because that's what I assumed. He brought it from another place where they had that technology.
Yes.
But then if he did that,
that's the implication.
Right, but then he would have had to known where he was going, and you can't know where you're going because of the building. So he was like, did he just have that? He's just like, I don't care where I go, things are getting blown up.
Later they imply there's some sort of like plan for it, and it makes sense, but like it's still it's the Lost thing. It's just like it's too confusing, it's too unclear, and then like the entire backstory doesn't it became too confusing for me, and I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah, either way, the dad blew up this guy's family, so he's somewhat justified in his anger.
Yes. But you're right. They escape from him by beating him up, and he gets out of his handcuffs. And they run off to get back to the building. But the Tinkerer has built his own brand new nuke out of, he says, 3 duds he found. So he managed to build his own nuclear bomb. And he chases them to the building where he sets off the nuclear bomb, but they manage to jump away in the building just in time.
And is this the scene where we have that Polly, like, maybe jokingly, maybe doesn't jokingly try to seduce Harry for some reason?
Yes. Well, while they're hostages, yes. Harry the lawyer, Polly is like, you want to have sex or something? And he's like, what? Are you serious? And then they cut away.
But I didn't get it. I didn't know if it was supposed to be like, oh, I've learned about her character a little bit, or if it was like, oh, she's someone who like manipulates to get what she wants, or if it was like she's just like kind of someone who joshes you around and she's just, being funny. I just didn't know what the scene was. Like, you could take it out and it wouldn't change anything.
They replay that scene later with Ronan. We'll get to this next world, but at this next world, they do the exact same scene where Ronan and her are alone. She's just like, hey, you want to have sex with me? And he's like, what? And she's like, just kidding. And I'm like, okay. This is her character, I guess.
But then, see, I didn't know if that was her thing, or if, like, she was serious at one time, or if, like, that's what all her poor scenes are going to be.
Well, Christopher Leone, he's obviously, knows how to write for women. That's just...
I will say, one of the comments I saw somewhere was just like, what a great pilot. This would be so much fun. Jumping from building to building with a sexy lady who wants to have sex with you. I'm like, okay, well, this is clearly... it feels like she was written for a certain type of guy to tune in and be like, oh, that's so cool. It's like such wish fulfillment. Anyway, they jump to a new world, and when they step outside, the world they've landed in is better technology world.
Well, it's funny because they make it very explicit that it's the same place and the same time in every world, but because of events, things are very different. But it's like it's just a way for them to get away that like well, we want it to be a futuristic world. It can't be the future, but like they handled things a little bit better in their world historically.
Yeah. And Jordan, this is what you were kind of complaining about earlier. So they've jumped to one world. They now understand they're jumping between parallel worlds, and this is a new world. Polly gives them a speech about, hey, be careful when we go to new worlds. You don't know how different it is. Money doesn't work the same always in different worlds. You know, things are subtly different. You won't know how they work right away. And they step off out of the building into this world, and she gives them the speech, and then the four of them are like, what should we do? And they're like, let's go find our dad to have him explain what's going on. And I'm just like, but why would your dad wouldn't know? Like, it's a parallel universe. How would that work? And they're like, how do we even find dad? And they're like, I don't know. Let's split up. Like,
Yeah.
their decisions right off the bat of landing this new world make no sense at all.
Well, like almost every action they do, I'm like, oh, I guess a human being would do that, maybe, with no common sense. But like, that's the thing. It's a weird thing to poke fun of or criticize in a science fiction thing, especially with something with such a vast outlandish plot. But your characters still need to act like human beings. Like, that would be the point. That's what's going to ground you to reality. What's going to make it interesting for the viewer is that you relate to people, or you feel like you're seeing something represented, same things you would do. Like, oh, if I was in this situation, I would do this, and it's magnified, or it's played for laughs, or whatever it is. But it's like in this, I'm like, I don't even recognize these people as humans. Like, they're these like two-dimensional characters who are walking around making very bizarre decisions every single time.
Yeah, you have to have some sort of grounding element to it in all kind of sci-fi genre stuff. And that was those three words. Let's split up. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It makes no sense. And when they split up, Ronan and the jumper veteran Polly, they're like, all right, we'll go visit your family's home and see if your dad's there. And then Bee and Harry team up, and their aim is unclear. They just seem to wander off aimlessly. I'm not sure what their intention is. I don't like, at least the other two are like, we're going to try to find dad at our old family home. And you're like, you two walk that way, see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. You find stuff. What? It's called time wasting for this episode.
And of course, both parties then, despite the fact Polly literally just said it's like, money works different on different worlds, both parties go and immediately try to buy something. Immediately.
Yeah. And I always love that in these worlds, when you have the the kind of a fish out of water sort of thing, that people just sort of go with it. Like, imagine someone showed up and they were like, oh, you need, what do you call it? Money? Oh, sure, I can do that for you. You'd be like, get out of my store.
So start doing a little dance. Is this money?
Yeah. Is this money? I'm like, yeah, you can't be here, building shifter. Get out of here.
But yeah. As you said, Ronan goes in, he's hungry, so he goes to try to buy a Crombie, which I guess is a crab in a bun. And they're just like, he's just like, all right, I'll take one Crombie. And I meet him, just like, and Polly's standing there. She doesn't say anything. I'm just like, why is she not being like, how do you intend to pay for this? The lady's just like, just stick your hand on the biometric scanner and it'll charge you money. And he does, and it just like beeps and says, you're not in the system, because he doesn't exist on this world apparently. And they're just like, well, I guess we better run away.
No, he bangs on the truck a couple times first, tries to get it. And
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
true. He gets mad at the lady that he won't give it to her, the sandwich. She doesn't understand how goods and services work for money.
Based on his history, she should be glad he only banged on the truck. Am I right?
Meanwhile, Harry and Bee, they walk past a fancy cell phone store where they see like a smartphone that's see-through, and he's just like, I gotta have it, and he goes in to buy it. And I guess this scene's played for laughs, but he like, when he hands over his credit card, they're just like, what am I supposed to do with this? And he's like, well, how do I pay? And just like, put your hand on the scanner, and he scans it, and he exists in this world, so he's able to buy the phone.
It's weird though, because you're right. I think the scene is supposed to be played for laughs, but we haven't learned anything about his character at this point. So you're like, oh, he's like, I want to get one of these phones so that when we go back home, I can sell it to Apple or whatever he says, and then become like a gazillionaire. I'm like, is that his character? That's what we're supposed to know about him? Because like,
it's a good question, because the only stuff we learn about him later is that he's supposed to be like, he's a high-minded guy who's fighting for justice as a public defender. But in this scene, we see him as like a greedy little weasel.
Yeah, that's my point. The only other character you get, he's pining for Bee, which we haven't talked about. Like, pretty much in every scene, he's just like, I wish she noticed me. I'm like, she does notice you. She talks to you all the time.
she said you're like a brother, which I'm sure he loved to hear.
Yeah, I mean, classic tropes there for him and Bee. But This does give them a motivation now. Once they buy this phone, B and Harry are like, well, let's just go to my apartment, since the guy who works there is just like, oh, your apartment's around the corner. And he's like, all right, well, let's go there and check out, like, maybe we can use my internet or something. Anyway, they're not the only people who jumped to this world. Apparently, the Tinkerer didn't die in his explosion. He somehow got into the building before the nuke went off. And now he's also in Future Tech World. And as soon as they leave the cell phone store, the Tinkerer walks into the cell phone store and says, let me buy all your cell phones. And the employee's like, sure. And he's like, okay, now let me work in the employee lounge to build some sort of device. And the employee's like, sure.
He's like, are you making a bomb? He's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, yeah, that's fine. You could go back
It
there.
looks a lot like a bomb. He's like, don't worry about it. I bought all the cell phones.
I have to go back to that apartment that the lawyer guy went to, and he's supposed to be this big hotshot corporate lawyer who's like in the news
Yeah, let's
and
talk
stuff.
about this.
And it looks like a really disappointing Airbnb. It's so. I was shocked.
I had that same thought because they go to that apartment. There's this. It's so dumb. As they're walking up to the apartment too, the Tinkerer's doppelganger walks by them, complaining that someone spent like all this money on his bank account. They walk past him. They don't even clock him.
No, yeah, that was.
They like walk. They bump into each other, and they don't even notice it's the man who was torturing them.
They're very, very dumb.
But yes, they get up to the apartment. They get inside, and Harry's just talking about, oh, I'm so successful in this world. I'm a corporate lawyer. I can't believe I sold out my values. But yeah, that apartment is the most basic apartment I've ever seen. I'm just like, this is not a nice apartment.
Not only that, but they only show like, I'm pretty sure it's just the one room is all you really get. Like they walk in, and it's like the room you see, like the foyer, just as soon as you get into like a small apartment. It's like clearly all they had to shoot. And I agree, it's funny. There's some scale issues on this, like you said earlier, that everything feels a little bit small. And I think that's what it is. Like, I actually don't think the special effects are the worst. I don't think
Special effects
it
are
looks
fine.
that bad. It's just that it feels small, like, which is such a weird feeling and comment to have in a show about multiple worlds and endless possibilities, and you feel like, oh, I'm really confined in this building.
Yeah. Like, add a little production value. That's easy right there. A rich lawyer's apartment. Just, I don't know, put some cheesy painting up or just something.
Something, yeah. It needed something. But they do find his doppelganger's computer. And then Harry, as you've said, he's in love with Bee, but that's an unrequited love that she's not aware of for some reason. And he's forced to, she wants to use the internet, so he's forced to embarrassingly reveal his personal password, which is Bee's name plus 4 additional numbers, which is, what's especially funny, he's like, what's your password? He's like, it's Beatrice 478. And she's typing in, she's like, what's 478 mean? He's like, it's your birthday. And she's like, huh? She doesn't recognize her own birthday for some reason.
But I should just say, Luke, we didn't mention, the reason they do that is they assume that the alternate version of themselves have the same basic thoughts.
Yeah, that's the joke. The joke is the password still works.
Yeah, which is bizarre, but I do like that all the characters are just dumb. They should actually have leaned into it. It should be that everyone they're like remarkably dumb, and just play that at all points, that they sort of like just fall into situations because they're dumb, because they are. I
mean, they're playing for laughs. The awkward reveal that his password is her name. Like, oh, so awkward. But then when she's just like, what do those 3 numbers at the end of that password mean? And he's like, it's your birthday. I'm like, how would you not recognize your own birthday?
Yeah. Also, I should say, I know it's played for laugh stuff, but if we take a step back, it is actually really creepy to just put someone's the person that you have this unrequited love for, and like it's the point where you're like, you're changing your password to their name and birthday stuff. Like, that's not cool.
It's obsessive.
Just don't do that.
Anyway, they get on the internet. They don't learn very much once they get on there, other than like, on this world, her dad is dead because he died in a mysterious physics accident at the building they jumped in. And I was just like, yeah, why did you think your dad would have any information in here? Doesn't matter. That's what they learn. But what I did like from this scene is that Harry gets really annoyed that his alt like lacks the moral fortitude that he does as a public defender. And then at some point, Bee's doppelganger walks in, and he realizes that on this world, his doppelganger also hooked up with Bee. So what he does is he decides he's going to ruin his doppelganger's life by like emailing all his shady dealings as a corporate lawyer to the press, and like runs out of the building. And something very funny about traveling to another world and like absolutely ruining your double's life. We never saw that on Sliders. I think that's a very funny premise to just be like, no, I'm gonna fuck myself in this world.
The motivation was
Yeah.
very unclear there. I was like, oh wait, so now
Oh,
that
yeah.
you see that you're together, you're gonna press send. It just, yeah, it made no sense.
He like was mad at his double for being morally corrupt, but it was the last straw was that he got to hook up with a girl he likes. So it was like, I'm ruining your life.
And hers as well now. So
And hers as well. But it does imply that she's also morally corrupt, so she deserves it as well. Anyway, I don't know. It wasn't well done, but I will say this is the first time I've ever seen one of these shows where they're just like, usually they're like really sympathetic to themselves. And this time they're just like, nah, let's ruin it for me. Anyway, Ronan and Polly, meanwhile, have gone on that separate adventure to visit the suburban home. While they're there, they like talk about like how his mom died, and she like is like, sex? Just kidding. It's like kind of supposed to be character building moments, but it really doesn't do much. He ends up finally mentioning that futuristic lawn bowling ball he found at the beginning, which at this point in this pilot, I forgot about entirely. I forgot it existed. I forgot they had found
Yeah, I did
that.
too.
Because it was evocative of so little. And she explained, she's like, oh yeah, that's from the core world, Earth 1, we think. No one's ever been there, but anytime we find any technology that we can't explain, we're always going to say it's from the core world on this show. And I was like, oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
it's implied that the three protagonists are not from the core world, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone is not from the core world. The implication is the core world is where the building originated from.
Okay.
And if you can get there, you'll learn all the mysteries, I think is the idea. But yeah, they're just kind of be like adding this core world mythology now when they're discussing this little ball they found.
Unrelated to this, my note just after the scene, I wrote, it would be better if Polly was a robot. It's the note I made to myself. And I'm like, I think I still stand by that.
Hey,
That'd be more interesting. She should be a robot.
She could be a robot. We don't know yet. Maybe she's in the robot world.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. She could be from probably an android, but yeah.
After they talk about this, they find the dad. They're like, let's go check my dad's jump bag again. Inside of that, there's another note from their father that just says, get out. Which I'm just like, this isn't a time travel show. It's not like he can go back in time and leave them notes. How would he know to leave that note? And that because this is where the Men in Black, the greasy Men in Black show up.
He doesn't like people in his house. He just leaves that note at all times. He doesn't like people coming over.
Like another bizarre mystery that doesn't really add up. Men in Black show up. They have, we saw in the teaser, they have these futuristic guns that they're like, all right, let's go get these guys. The Carver, Ronan Carver. You know, Ronan beats them up because he's an MMA fighter. Polly's just like, yeah, I've encountered these strangers before in other worlds. And he's like, who are they? And she's like, I don't know anything more about them than they're weird. And I'm like, okay, thanks. That's great.
Classic robot.
And they escape, basically. They all meet back up at the building, including the Tinkerer who's shown up with his crazy invention.
Mm-hmm.
And man, oh man, this crazy invention is quite something. Essentially what he's built is a mysterious machine that will control the mysterious building. He is just like, I don't know if you guys looked around this building, but you can't get above the 7th floor. It's all blocked off. He's like, which must mean someone's up there controlling things. And they're like, whoa, we never thought to look around the building before.
I know. I love that the characters walked into the lobby of the building and found out it's like a time traveling building and went, that's enough for us. Anyways, anyone want a Crombie?
He starts making the building shake by using his device. He's like, this will get their attention. The elevator chimes and opens, and who should step out? But it's their dad.
Can I just say, how wild is it though that this guy, like, I know they've really said that this guy is like not only like good with technology, he's great. Like he's a genius in terms of what he can do.
He went in one building one time. He went for one jump in this building. He's like, I can build a machine that controls this building.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like just the amount of effort it would take to try to figure out how the building is wired or whatever.
How it functions. We don't even know the physics of the building.
That's what I mean. Just to figure that out. But he's not only figured that, he's tapped into it and he can control it. I'm like, well, doesn't that take out a real chunk of the mystery of this thing? Like, I understand why they want to do it because what we're going to learn later with this kind of map thing, kind of. But it's just such a weird thing to have done. And then what they do with the character. I just thought the whole thing was so bizarre.
It's bizarre. Dad comes out. Tinkerer wants his revenge, but Dad's just like, hey, you can kill me, or you could take the elevator upstairs, and everything will be explained to you. Why we nuked your world, everything will make sense. He's like, all right, well, I'll go get in the elevator then. So he leaves, gets in the elevator. The dad now spends time with his kids to give a whole bunch of exposition. He's just like, hey, your mom and I were from a different world. We stopped on your world once your mom got pregnant. I've been jumping for years. I keep coming back and forth from the building while you were kids. B, your mom isn't dead. Or, quote, at least not all of her. I don't know what that means. I don't know at all what that means.
That wording threw me off too.
Anyway, kids, since you found that ball in my bag, I got a quest for you. Go find your mom, give her the magic 8-ball, and she will be able to find the core world with it. Good luck to you, my children.
Yeah, and they're like, do we want to find the core world? He's like, yes, you do.
Yes. The elevator chimes. As soon as he finishes talking, the Tinkerer steps off, and he's just like, hey, your dad's a liar, don't believe him. Dad just shoots him dead. He's Tinkerer's dead.
I do love, though, that was just his stall. He's basically like, hey, you want to have all the answers? It's up on the 7th floor. And the guy's like, all right. He goes up. But there's nothing up there. He's just like, he's like, he has the time that it takes for the elevator to go up and down because he knows there's nothing up there. I'm like, why? He didn't have anything else planned? There wasn't like, it's an empty elevator shaft. The guy falls down or something. It's like, no, I just need to delay him for 30 seconds.
Jordan, I 100% think he went up there, discovered an amazing mystery, and then came back down. I think that's what they're trying to imply.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I think it was just like there was nothing up there.
No. They're definitely like he saw the truth and now he's back down to warn them.
Oh, and then so he's like, I'll let you see the truth, but as soon as you come down, I'll shoot you.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter because if you're dead or there's nothing up there, you're still not getting any information across.
It's crazy.
Yeah, this is where it lost me a little bit. It was just these last 5 minutes. I was like, okay.
This is where it lost you?
I was kind of into it, but yeah.
The dad, after killing Tinkerer, is just like, anyway, kids, good luck on your mission I gave you. I got to run. I've got my own wars to fight. And he leaves the building. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, so I guess he can get back on the building. It just didn't make sense. I'm like, I don't understand where he's going. Whatever. He leaves the building. And this is where the device comes into play big time. They're just like, well, now that we have this device conveniently built by that man who's dead over there, we can control where the building jumps to based on this map of 1 billion dots we're looking at. We can just press a dot and go to it. So now we can methodically search worlds, whereas before the building just jumped randomly. So that's what our show's going to be about, us going from world to world using this device. Even though we don't know how it works, we didn't build it, and nothing makes sense.
That was one of the points I had, was that they introduced this character of Tinker. Let's be fair, he's had almost as much screen time as our main characters. I thought he was going to join the team. Like, I thought it was going to be a thing where, like, he's reluctantly part of the group, and you have one member who's not really pulling in the same direction, but he has this ability that they need, which is to run this technology.
To be the only one who's smart?
Yes. The stupidity of the device itself aside, I was like, okay, well, they have this guy who's disgruntled, but he's there, but he knows how to use it, so they all need something from each other. But they're like, no, he's dead. They're just going to use the technology. I'm like, okay, well, why even introduce him as a character then?
I do like that, though. I do love when, just not specific to this show, but any kind of TV show, when it's the pilot, the first 2 episodes, and they kill a main character at the end of the first episode. I mean, it's you see it once in a while. I dig it.
Do you like the possibility that he's going to be a regular?
So,
it wasn't Ronan. If it was Ronan, I'd be like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. It was Tinker,
It was just very funny because, we've seen these characters. They barely understand how going to parallel universes works. It's so difficult to watch them because they're kind of not very bright. And then they're like, now here's a device that's also a mystery to you, but we're going to let you have it so that this show will work functionally.
But again, to your point, it's not like it's even a streamlined map. It's like, we're comparing to other shows of this.
They might as well be jumping randomly. They're just pushing random buttons.
Yeah, it's like, I can't remember now, Luke. In Sliders, he had like a watch or something, right? Or like a little tablet that kind of showed them how much time they had because each world was different time,
it's like
right?
a 36-hour countdown. They just had a countdown to the next slide, but the slide was always random.
Right, but they had some sort of way of controlling it a little bit, which, let's be fair, is better than this. Because even at one point when Polly's telling them, she's like, I think it's now when they're going to do a jump. And she's like, it happens every 36 hours. And they're like, how come it's not happening? And she's like, it's kind of like 36 hours. It's pretty close to it. I'm like, well, you can't make that a rule then. You can't say it's 36 hours, but sometimes it's 36 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's all very. The thing is, they don't want any characters to have too much information because they want so many reveals on the show. So they really are keeping the characters. Even Polly, who theoretically is the one who's done this a bunch of. She's from other worlds. They met her on the building. She's jumped to a million worlds. She's from a world where there's a TV show where they yell, "It's the Big Danny," and they're like, "Whoa, what a crazy
That was a
world
nice
you're
touch.
from." But they do this next jump. They choose the world they're going to go to. They land on a world where it's so bright outside that you can't see the world, so they don't have to VFX anything in.
Yeah.
Our 3 leads go out, leaving Polly inside so that we can have one final big twist, Lost style. Polly turns around, and there are 2 other Pollys with different haircuts and slightly different outfits. And apparently the 3 Pollys just swap places from time to time to hang out with them, even though they have different haircuts, and would be obviously clear that you're hanging out with a different person. Like, hey, Polly, we left you inside for a second. Now you have a different haircut.
And are they all sharing one jacket?
They hand over a jacket because they're not dressed exactly the same. So they're like, they won't notice that you have a different shirt on if you put this jacket on.
See, I had a little chuckle because I thought it was like they have this big plan where they're like, they're switching and fooling. You think it's one Polly, but it's Polly 2. And they're like, but we only have one jacket, so we just have to keep rotating it.
Well, as long as you change jackets, they'll never notice the difference of the haircuts.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of big twist at the end.
Did that add anything though? Like, I mean, it's sort of like, oh, like you're right, Luke. It's like layering another mystery, but it wasn't like I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, oh, okay, so there's 3 of her, but like, to what effect to anything I've seen? Like, it's like, it could have been anything. Would have made just as much sense as she pulled off her face and she was an alien.
Yeah.
Or I'm saying like she's a robot, or it does. It's just like it could be anything. It's like, but why? I have to keep watching.
It's the consequences of Lost. It's just you have to pile mysteries on without making them make any sense. And you just have to trust the showrunners know where it's going. You're so excited to find out why there are 3 Pollys, what this ball does, what's above the 7th floor. But they give you no reason to care, so it's hard to invest.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think, and I don't know, Chris, if you feel the same way, but like, I think almost the weakest thing of this show is not even so much the premise or like we were saying, the building, how it looks, or any of the sort of things. It's that the characters are really weak. They're like really, really thin characters. And I know it's a pilot, so you have to sort of forgive a thing, and there would obviously be some tinkering. And
Neil Gaiman would have come in and fixed this right
Yeah. Yeah. But I think sometimes when you see a very strong pilot, you get a sense right away of who the characters are. That's the main thing. It's like, you want to spend time with these people. As soon as I met Ronan, I was like, he's the star of the show. I don't want to spend any time with this guy. Like, he's just the most boring person who like, sometimes I get angry and I hit things. Like, okay.
And if I'm not angry, I'm sad.
Yeah.
And it's also like how important casting is and how casting can make or break a show. And I mean, not that, I don't want to make a comment on any of their acting, some, stronger than others, but they had no chemistry. The brother and sister had no sibling chemistry with each other. The lawyer and the sister, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. The script does not give them anything to work with.
Mm-hmm.
It saddles the lawyer as a creep.
Mm-hmm.
Like a creeping on the sister the whole time. It's hard. It's a hard character to be like, can't wait to spend time with him every week.
Mm-hmm.
But it does come off to Chris's point. Like, it's a lot of scenes like you're like, they look sort of badly acted and performed. May not even really be. It's like, how much can you do with like a really bad scene and some bad dialogue? But it's like, you're right. It's this funny thing of piling. It's like, oh, and then we're gonna find out the mom's still alive. And like, oh, I didn't care at all. Not even a little bit.
Parts of her might be still alive.
It wasn't so much like you're gonna find a finger one time. I think it was somewhere like you're gonna find out because she's from another world that there's some sort of essence of her around. They're like, now we've captured this, and if we can find a vessel for her, we'll have her, her consciousness. And I think they're gonna be playing with that. What was the intention? To play with that for a while. But
that's a good question. I like this. Let's theorize what the episodes would be like. So you're theorizing in order to find the dead mother, they would have to Frankenstein together a bunch of other mothers until they had a vessel.
I think there'd be some sort of vessel. I think they'd have to maybe go to another world and find Tinker again because they've unfortunately killed him, and he seems like he's game for building something. He can build some sort of robot.
I do like that as a premise.
Chris, do you got anything better than that?
Oh, what happens? I don't know. It felt like they were trying to make a more serious version of Sliders, like something less like tongue in cheek, and it just came across as kind of, I don't know, ill-conceived. And I guess that when they go to these different worlds and they're, I can't imagine like them doing anything but either finding their full mother intact, just a different version of her, and seeing where that takes them. But I guess they're going to be looking for their mom and dad, and yeah.
I'm sorry we didn't get to the next episode where this Polly is a prude. For sure, that was going to be the next episode. For sure.
But Chris makes an interesting point in that, comparing this to Sliders and its sort of faults, but like it was a fun show. And I think when you're watching this, at least one of my early reactions watching was I was like, man, this is not fun. Like, it doesn't have to be like an adventure show, but I don't know if it's just the time that this show came off. And I know it's crazy to think that this is only 10 years ago or 11 years now at this point, but there's such a lack of like joy in this. Everything's like so bleak and kind of like the characters are like meh, and the worlds are meh, and the adventures meh. It's not like it doesn't have to be a cartoon, but it's like, guys, you can have some fun. Like you've created a show where people are traveling to different worlds, and you don't want to make those fun. Like the most fun thing you did literally in the entire show was there was a Crombie sandwich that looked like a crab. That's the most fun thing they did in the entire thing, at least in my opinion. Like, oh, the bioscanners, like, okay. And like, and then it's a post-apocalyptic world and they kill you on sight. Blah. You have every possibility open, and that's what you do. I just was like, guys, like, have a little bit of excitement.
I was kind of excited when they got to that second world, and it was like it looked more futuristic, and that technologically advanced. And then they got the Crombie, and they went to the store, and I was like, okay, I see where this is going. Finally, like they found, and then that disappeared. So.
Yeah, I mean, I will agree with you, Chris. I did think that was nice because I think we saw in the Doorways pilot, they just go to one place and it's just post-apocalyptic world. At least this place, they chose two worlds to go to, and they were like quite diametrically opposite, so we could at least see like some potential of where you could go to. It was a little dull when you were there.
Yeah. And everyone's angry. All the characters seem angry all the time.
Well, do you want to get into rating this?
Yeah.
I don't know how much there's left to say about Old Parallel. So, Chris, usually we rate this out of sort of a 10 stars, much like IMDb, it's at a 10 stars. And, you don't have to rate it critically. You can rate it according to your own enjoyment. But how are you feeling about Parallels?
Well, there was something kind of, because I haven't seen something like this in a while, we haven't had these type of like, although you said it was made for Netflix, it did feel like a network TV,
very much
kind of, 2 episodes as a pilot, make it into a mini movie. So I just hadn't experienced something like that in a while. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember these bad TV movies that were probably pilots, so that was enjoyable. And as someone who grew up loving Sliders, it was nice to have that kind of like, it felt nostalgic in a way. Watching something that's only 10 years old, but still. Yeah, so yeah, I enjoyed that. I just felt like, whoever this guy is who created this, Christopher Leone, I'm not going to be, seeking him out. And, but love Constance, and I'll give it a 5.
5 out of 10. All right, Jordan, what do you think?
I'm not too far off, Chris. I think if there's one difference, it's funny because Chris has said, I haven't seen anything like this in a while. I'm like, I feel like I have just because of this podcast. We've seen so many sort of things kind of like this, like kind of swings and misses. So I don't think this is the worst version I've ever seen. I think it's not entirely successful. I think there's something there. Like I can't quite put my finger on. Like nothing's quite working, but it's close. You're like, there's something there, maybe, and maybe it's just a product of its time, like I think we've said a few times of this maybe post-Lost sort of thing. but I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. I think we're all on the same page. Yeah, Constant Wu. She's doing a great job. The guy who plays Tinker, I think, has sort of chewing the scenery, so I enjoyed watching both of them.
And the guy who played the detective. You all like that guy, the chief detective captain
Who?
or whatever he was from the guy who you didn't recognize. He was
The
good.
guy who was scandalized when he found out they were lying to him.
Yeah.
And I agree. I do like the idea of a parallel show. I think this is just, I think this is a really great textbook example of what Lost did to TV for a while.
Yeah.
So you can really see the weaknesses of it because the show just doesn't work because it's too busy layering mysteries and not caring about characters. I'm going to go 3 out of 10. Well, I think we're all basically in the same ballpark.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. And I think also pretty accurate. Probably most people come away going like, like it's not the worst, but also if you've seen anything like this, like any of the other shows we've mentioned, those are all probably better versions.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'd go back and watch Doorways before I watch this again, I think.
I actually could barely remember Doorways. I just keep thinking of Sliders. And I know Sliders had some rough episodes
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah. I keep thinking of the Treehouse of Horror episode where Homer keeps on going to those different worlds.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Close
right.
enough.
Exactly.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much. That was really fun.
I'm glad to have you on. It was good to have someone who knew Sliders, who kind of knew this sort of genre, so it was nice to have your thoughts on it.
No, I will talk. I will happily talk about Sliders whenever.
And listener, if you have any thoughts on Parallels, you can email us here at continuumdrag@gmail.com. And of course on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, we will have clips from Parallels. Honestly, not a very visually interesting show. There's not a lot of good clips. You'll get a Crombie probably.
Yeah, you got a bomb going off. Kind of. You don't even really see much, do you?
You don't really, and there's nothing happens when they jump. So there's no like visuals about them jumping. They just kind of like, they're like, we jumped. And I'm like, so there's not really like VFX to cut to. You'll see like some wide shots of like a future world and a post-apocalyptic world. But yeah, it's weirdly not very visually dynamic.
Yeah, it should have been a book.
At any rate, those few clips you'll find at Continuum Drags, the handle on our social media. But that wraps it up. So listener, thank you for joining us. And Jordan, I'll see you on the next one.
I'll see you then.
Can't get enough Continuum Drag? Commission a bonus episode for charity.
Want us to watch an episode we missed after using the escape pod or during a best of run? No problem.
Is there an episode of a series we've never watched or a TV movie you want us to cover? You got it.
Wish we'd comment on your favorite movie, content, or other weird media? Sure, why not?
All you have to do is make a donation to one of the charities selected by past guests on our website.
We suggest a donation of $50 per television hour of content we're watching, but everyone's means are different, so give what you can.
Get all the details about bonus episodes for charity on our website, continuumdrag.podbean.com, or follow the links in our social media profiles.
Continuum Drag is recorded in Ontario, Canada, and Seoul, South Korea. Theme music by James Rick Seidler. Produced by Jordan Dullock and Luke Black. Special thanks to Aaron Hughes.